As the Coachella Valley continues to grow as an entertainment and cultural empire in the California desert cities, Mutual 111 is your go-to for local and regional arts, literature, music, special events, and theater. From the Mutual Broadcasting System studios in Palm Springs, it's The Desert Scene with Bonnie G.
And welcome to The Desert Scene. Happy to have you with us and on our new home, mutual111.com. And we're welcoming now my good buddy, Doug Graham, who is my co-host for our Broadway review, Razzle, Dazzle, and is just an amazing talent. I'm so happy to be working with him. Hey, Doug, how are you?
Oh, I am feeling so good, my friend. This whole Razzle thing has just been such a joy to work with you, from top to bottom.
Well, we just recently kicked off our third season at the Palm Springs Cultural Center, and we're sold out, packed house, had to turn people away. So it's really, really, really evolved. So I'll let you tell people, anyone who has not seen Razzle Dazzle, tell them what they can expect if they come to the next show.
We're called the Razzle Dazzle, a Broadway review. So, as you mentioned once, there is no real niche of just Broadway with, the shows that are put on in different venues around Broadway shows in the theaters. But to have a review of just different Broadway music doesn't really happen until our show. Mm-hmm. And so that's a particular niche. So the joy of it is that, of course, you're the producer, I'm the director. We team up and we do it every week, and we have two guest artists. Almost all have had major theater credits, if not Broadway, and so they bring their own joy and talent and special, the niche of what they provide to every show. So it's completely different every time.
Yeah. And what's really great is, as you know, Broadway's there's so much material to choose from. Just to sit down and figure, what do we got? It's because there's years and years and years of great Broadway shows.
Yes, that's part of the fun of it, because everything from the standards that we all know and love from the 40s and the 50s or even before to contemporary Broadway today. There's so much storytelling to make happen and to make people laugh and feel emotions and cry, and the brand of our show really is making people happy and leaving them feeling good.
Yeah. Well, so Doug, for people that don't know, who maybe don't go to much theater, don't know that, tell us a little bit about, because you are one that has some extensive, impressive Broadway credits. Just give us a couple of your credits that you have.
Well, in order, real quickly, I did the national tours of Bob Fosse's Dancin', A Chorus Line, Cats, Phantom of the Opera, first national tour, and then Chicago, where I got to sort of end my big show run with Cheetah Rivera and Ben Vereen. I actually understudied Ben Vereen, and I never got to go on because he was never out, but I'm not bitter at all.
I hate when that happens. Okay.
And I ended up doing Cats on Broadway as the Rum Tum Tugger, which is the role that I did as well. So, I do a lot of regional theater. My website is douggraham.biz if you want to take a peek. And so I've done a lot of choreography, too, and around Disney and that kind of thing. But my focus for performing has been musical theater. Yeah. That's my niche.
And Doug, in addition to having some amazing vocal pipes, is a wonderful dancer, also a voice and dance instructor, and in addition to being a choreographer. So he's pretty much, does it all. So I want to tell people about something new that we're trying this season with Razzle Dazzle, is this sort of tiny Broadway tales thing. So tell people about that.
Yes, that seemed to be a big hit overall. We took a chance this season, and we decided to try something new. And we're calling it Tiny Broadway Tales, as you said. And what we're doing is we're picking one particular show, and maybe a little bit obscure for most of the audience, but our hope is that, and this is what happened when we did our show, is that we present songs and a synopsis of the show in between the songs. So about the time this little synopsis is over, this little mini tale is over, they have the whole show, how it starts, how it ends. And usually there's a song that they all know. So this particular night that we did our show, we chose On a Clear Day You Can See Forever. Mm-hmm. And, of course, everybody that hit song On a Clear Day. So that's how we're focused around it.
And I thought it was interesting because I asked, after we were finished, who, if anyone in the audience was familiar with that show, and only one person raised their hand. So I liked that we introduced something new to people that they weren't really familiar with it. So I think so we're going to continue doing that. And I have to admit, I mean, I love Broadway, and I grew up listening to, my mother had every cast recording of everything, Oklahoma, etc. But some of the newer stuff, some of it I know and some of it I don't. So I'm not as familiar with some of the newer Broadway things as, let's say, you are. So I'm learning along the way, which is really fun, too.
Yeah, there's so much to pull from. As am I. I mean, there's still so many shows out there that are maybe a little bit more obscure that we don't know. But we'll be presenting something new next time we do this. And it's going to be a fun surprise for the audience to enjoy something new and bring them along for the ride of that, you know?
And so the way we've said it, Doug and I perform in every show. We're the co-hosts, and we bring in guests, a female singer and a male guest singer. And as you said, a lot of them have either national touring experience or Broadway experience. And we're also bringing in, what I like is we're bringing in people who maybe either are new to the desert or somewhat new to desert audiences and aren't getting a lot of exposure out there right now. So tell us, for instance, tell people about who we have on our next show, our guests coming up.
Our next show, I'm super excited. We've got Randy Brenner. Randy Brenner is a longtime theater guy, Broadway credits, directing, and he's done actually a lot of TV work as well, TV. And he's just a great personality. And the female will be Kelly McDaniel. And if any of the locals saw the not too far away production of Desert Theatricals, Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, he played the narrator and brought the friggin' house down.
Okay.
She is a force and so much fun. So it's really about not just the songs we present, but when people come aboard, it's the chemistry that we have with each other.
Yeah.
And that's really what I feel the audience is, that we give some talent and authenticity and a joy, basically, of what we do. Because we all live our passion.
Absolutely.
And for us, to do this, they really want to do this. All the talent that comes aboard is like, we've been looking for something like this to do.
Yeah.
So it's a chance for them to really, they want to come back and do more after they do it once. So.
And one of the things that I think the audience really likes in what we're doing is we oftentimes tell little stories either about sort of the show before we do our individual numbers, or a story personally maybe that we have a connection to the show. When I did the show back 5 years ago and I fell off the stage or whatever it is, and they love that. They love hearing those kinds of stories. I mean, it really connects them. It's a personal connection. And because it's we're upstairs on the second floor at the Palm Springs Cultural Center, which is the old Camelot Theater building. And it's a very intimate room, seats 50 people. So we're right there. We're kind of like we're in your living room, and there's that real intimate connection, which I think people really enjoy as well.
Absolutely, it's like a combination of Broadway and cabaret on that note,
Yeah, and because
the intimacy, you don't get that on the Broadway stage, so they kind of have an extra inside niche. And with the talent that's coming aboard, they're going to get Broadway and cabaret to the extreme,
right? And we're upstairs in the second floor lounge, so there is a bar, so you can buy drinks, and then also they bring up food from downstairs. It's a small menu, but there's some nice little munchy stuff from Mildred's Cafe that you can order, and they bring it upstairs.
Good
Good stuff.
Really good.
Yeah. And tickets this year, tickets are $10 for the show, and then you can purchase whatever you'd like as far as food and drinks when you're there. And I do want to mention our pianist. We were so lucky to open our season this year with Chip Prince, who's just amazing. We were so lucky. Now he's very busy for the rest of the season. So our next 3 shows, we have Chuck Peary, who's kind of new to us, and then of course in November, Robert Allis will come back, who was with us most of last season. So we've been so lucky with our pianists as well.
Yes, the music directors are the nuts and bolts of it all. So, yes, we're very blessed to have very talented people aboard with us.
So, Doug, I always like to ask performers when I have on, because I've interviewed a lot of performers. When you have a night off and you go to see a musical performer somewhere, let's say in a cabaret setting, not a full production, but a cabaret setting, what are you looking for? What do you hope to see and hear when you go to see someone?
I want to hear stories, because everybody has stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't discover cabaret until maybe 10 years ago, and now I'm sort of obsessed with it equal to Broadway, because you go in and it's just like our show. It's very intimate. And so I want to hear, the stories they have to tell, whether it's their own stories or if they're doing a review about like 60s music or Cole Porter or whatever. It's their own personal take on all of it. So you're really getting who they are from that. And that really interests me.
Yeah.
Equal parts music.
Yeah. Our mutual friend, we both know him very well, Jerome Elliott, once said to me, somebody else told him this, and I can't remember who it was, but he repeated it back, that somebody said, cabaret is the art of being yourself on stage on purpose. And I like that. I thought that was really interesting. Yeah. Really interesting.
That is it.
Yeah. So, Doug,
Absolutely.
just digress for a moment. Broadway, the state of Broadway. I mean, a lot of things are going on. You know, there's writer strikes and all kinds of things are going on. What's your view of what's been happening on Broadway the last couple years? Do you think they're going in a positive direction? I mean, tickets are really expensive. What is sort of the state of Broadway right now?
Well, I go in every year to New York to get my Broadway fix, and I can just say from having had a career of it and coming back and witnessing it, you know, having it come back from its really bleak COVID days when for the first time Broadway shut down, which just doesn't happen. And for the heart of theater and Broadway to be present always will be eternal as far as I'm concerned. Doesn't matter what's going on with the prices and the writer's strike, of course, is not for theater; it's for film. But we all support them. We will march those lines with them, just like everybody else. But it's an eternal thing that Broadway will exist forever because we want not only the escape, but we want the best of the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people want to pay for it. You know, they'll pay for great things in their world because they want it. They'll pay for things that make them feel better. And theater has the ability to take us away like no other medium.
Absolutely.
It doesn't happen in film. It doesn't happen in TV. And so as long as theater exists, there will be Broadway.
Yeah. Well, Doug Graham, so again, Razzle Dazzle, our next show is coming up the 29th, September 29th. You can go on eventbrite.com for tickets or also check out the PS Cultural Center website. Doug, thank you so much again. I'm so happy to have you as my partner, my co-host with Razzle Dazzle, and looking forward to the rest of our season. It's going to be great. Thank you so much for being here.
Let's dig into our next rehearsal. We're all aboard.
Let's do it. All right. Thank you, Doug, and we'll see you next time on The Desert Scene.
Join us again for The Desert Scene with Bonnie G. from Mutual 111. Be sure to visit thedesertscene.com for more show information and mutual111.com for our full library of episodes.